you can make ginger ale at home. Why? Well, I personally find the store-bought ones too sweet. So you control the sweetness and you control how much ginger, so how gingery you want it. You will need a 2-liter bottle capable of withstanding high pressure, funnel, measuring spoons, and your favorite zester. And the ingredients are ginger, yeast, that's optional, sugar, and of course water. To take the skin off the ginger, I just use a spoon and scrape it off. With the ginger prepped, we start zesting. We need about a tablespoon of ginger. Doesn't have to be exact. And when you're zesting, don't worry about getting it down all the way to the bottom. We don't want blood in this mix. I'll show you what we do with the leftover bits of ginger after I'm done with this. The easy way to get the zest down the funnel is to put it in a bowl and then add water to make a slurry and then just pour it in the funnel. The original recipe calls for half a cup of sugar. That was too sweet. I went down to 1/3 cup. Too sweet. I'm down to a 1/4 cup of sugar now with this recipe, and it's still good. And what I do here is, and the sugar flows quite easily down the funnel. If you want, you can use brown sugar, and that is just as good, but the brown sugar doesn't flow as well, so what you'll need to do is, like the ginger, make a slurry in here and then pour it in the funnel. And actually the white sugar stopped flowing, so there we go. And now we can top it up. The water should be lukewarm, not too cold, not too hot, if you're going to do the yeast part. If you're going to do the yeast part, you also need room for expansion of the gases that are going to start during the fermentation process, which is what carbonates the ginger ale. So I'm going to stop it probably right about here. If you're going to do flat ginger ale, you can fill it right up, obviously. And it could be cold water right off the bat as well. The carbonated version will require yeast, obviously. And all it takes is a 1/4 teaspoon. Now, caution, a word of caution on yeast. Don't use too much. And you're going to leave this 1 to 2 days and monitor it closely depending on the temperature you have in the house or the water temperature. Right now, you can press this, no problem. As it starts to ferment, this will get rock hard. And if you let this go 3 or 4 days, you might actually blow up this bottle. Yeah, when I say fermentation, it's not going to make any alcohol. It might get like a 1/4%. It's a non-alcoholic beverage. But the fermentation is real, and I went away on a business trip once, and Greta wanted to open a bottle I had made that I'd forgotten about. And well, let's just say when she opened it, the contents emptied completely out of the bottle. I think there was maybe that much left. There was so much pressure in there. And when I got home, I held it up to a brand new bottle. The bottle that had literally siphoned everything out was 1/4 inch taller than the rest. So the plastic had stretched. I went online and I read somewhere that these bottles can hold 190 psi. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was probably pretty close to that when she opened it. And I said you can skip the yeast if you want a flat ginger ale, Why would you make a flat ginger ale? Well, if you're going to use it to add to beer to make a shandy, you don't need to carbonate it. The beer is carbonated enough because it doesn't take a lot of ginger ale to make a good shandy. You know, 1/3, 2/3 kind of thing, 1/4, 3/4. So, carbonated or not carbonated, it's a great drink. It's fast, it's easy. To stop the carbonation, you can burp the bottle or put it in the fridge. Now, putting it in the fridge doesn't completely stop it, but it takes much longer for the pressure to build up. But if you pour this in without burping it in the fridge, after a week or two, you might have an explosion. So, just when they say the yeast doesn't work in cold temperatures, that's not entirely true. It still continues, but at a much lower pace. Here's what you do with the leftover little bits. Cut them in little slivers. And then put them in a container and put them in your freezer. And then you could make a really good ginger tea with them anytime you want. Just take 3 or 4 of these pieces, or 5, depending if you want strong tea, with hot water, frozen, you have ginger tea. Waste not, want not. It's 24 hours later. Let's see what we've got. The bottle is quite firm, but it still yields a little bit. When it stops yielding, in other words, if we give it another 24 hours, then it'll be quite critical. You'll have to burp it because that's too much pressure. There you go. Whoop. That's after only 24 hours. And there you have it. A nice glass of homemade ginger ale. The correct procedure would have been to undo the cap slowly, but not take it off. Leave it on so that when you see it foaming up, you can shut her down right away. And you might have to do that numerous times to relieve the pressure so you don't get a spillover. But spillover was kind of fun to film. Cheers. Prost.